Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic rider. So let's see how the pivot does today because the sun's shining. This is Goose, and this is the horse that's a little bit on the nervous side. He's a more sensitive horse, and we're working on everything. Lots of desensitizing he needs. Either he hasn't had it or he got scared somewhere. You never know what their histories are exactly or what people have done with them. But he was a little scared to be catched in the beginning. He joined up with me that first day, and he's been on me ever since. He's like, I like you, lady. You kind of know what you're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down and lunge him to get some energy out. And he's very trotty, which a lot of kind of racking horses are. And he has a canter that I want you to see, because your horse might do this too. Good boy. So everything I want to do with him is gentle and slow because I don't want to scare him. I want to build up trust, and then over time we'll add more and more. Are you going to roll? But at least he came in nice and calm. And this can trick you with some horses when they come in like this, but he's calm because he's working with me and I know what I'm doing. Some horses are like that, and then they work with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, and the horses become very anxious and nervous because they're kind of giving them the wrong cues. So let's go to trotting. Trot. You might be like, he's not sensitive. He's not going. Well, I've been working him hard. So they mellow out pretty fast. But a lot of people don't work their horses hard, and that's why they get amped up. So this might be how he was previously, and then without the work, he got all amped up and a little bit scared. You don't know. So we want to take him through all the groundwork in case there's any holes, so we can work on them and fix everything, and then try to teach the owners what to do with them. Now, he did do this a lot. He stopped, and I used the corner to block him and keep him going, but now I have him out here so you can see him, so we'll see how it works out. Maybe it won't, and I'll have to go back in the corner and try to show you. But sometimes people always stopped in the corner or stopped in the same spot, and so the horse thinks that's what they're supposed to do, and then they keep stopping there. So when I'm lunging, I always try to stop in different spots and never where the horse wants to stop. So I'm not hitting him or anything. I'm just putting energy on him. So you'll see he has a beautiful trot. And right after I kind of waved that stick at him, he did his saddle gait. So he doesn't usually pace. He just does his trot or he does his gait. So I would call him on the trotty side. So I want to get him past that spot. I am going to turn him. So I'm going to breathe. And I'm going to look at his butt. Good boy. So that's usually a sensitive horse that picks those cues up. Okay? So you just keep that in the back of his mind. Even though he's quiet, he might be more on the sensitive side. And if you don't have a good instructor and know what you're doing, sensitive horses can then have things happen because you're doing it wrong and they don't have the temperament to tolerate it. They're kind of like me. I'm good and patient, and sometimes I'm not as patient. So I understand, but riders usually like sensitive horses. In other words, intermediate to advanced riders who like to move out and like to communicate with a horse without pushing it all the time, they get along with sensitive horses well. Beginners, a lot of times, like sensitive horses, but they can't handle them. So they start out well, and then it goes downhill. Then they kind of get messed up and the horse gets spooky and, then they end up with a bad reputation, but it's not them at all. It's not a good match. So if you get a trainer and someone who really knows what they're doing, you can usually make it work. But if you don't have good trainers or the horse isn't getting calmer with the trainer, well, then it's best you sell them. Okay? So when he started with me, his tail would be straight up in the air. Now it's not up so much. So he is getting calmer, and he's getting much lazier. He kind of reminds me of my old horse Sundance. Okay, so I'm going to turn him. I'm going to breathe. Oh, and look at his butt. So see, that's why we like sensitive horses, because it looks like magic. So So we'll trot a little bit more this way, and then we're going to start cantering. Now, I don't know if he's ever been cantered under saddle, because some of the racking horses, they don't. I want to teach him to canter at least on the lunge line, even if they don't ever want to canter under saddle, because if that energy ever comes up, I want him to be able to deal with it. It doesn't have to be a perfect canter, it just has to be some canter steps here and there, so we can go up and down, because cantering brings out some anxiety in some horses, because it's speed, and what do they do when they want to run away? They get speed. His head's down, that's a sign of relaxation, so that's all good, but he wasn't like this the other day. But I'm being consistent, I'm a calm, dominant leader, and he's like, I think I like it here. Okay, so I'm going to breathe. Ooh, good boy. Now we'll go the other way again. So you see, I'm not whipping the whip or anything. I'm giving him time to think and figure it out. And he was kind of bug-eyed when he showed up. He's not as bug-eyed now. He's still not totally relaxed like his brother Kai, because they have different temperaments. This guy's more sensitive and alert, and Kai has some sensitivity in him, but he's more dull and would tolerate mistakes a little bit more than this horse would. Okay? But that's it with young horses. You know, depends on their temperament and their training and all of that, and then, you know, how you are, if it's a match or not. So he's doing really well. So let's show you his canter, because he canters like a deer. Well, and I don't know if it's going to get better or not, because again, I don't think he's cantered before. He's 7, good boy. So now he always wants to come to me too. He's like safety with Gaye. Okay. So it's easier getting the canter from the trot than the pace, but getting him to do it, I might have to get after him some, and it might scare him some, and then I'll get him to do a couple steps and bring him back down so he doesn't have a whole bunch of anxiety. Don't expect him to canter a bunch of circles when they don't know how to canter. Here we go. Canter. Always use the word canter. Canter. Good boy. So he can keep cantering or come out of it. Now that's much better than it was the other day. He was just prancing up and down. But that time, it actually kind of looked like a canter and not as prancy. So let's try it again. Canter. 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 See how fast he can trot? Easy. Breathe. Pull and release. Pull and release. It's okay. Nope. Keep going. He's like, but you pulled. Now, if they do that, go the other way. You stop them. Whoa. Not too hard. And then relax. Because if you get after them, they get scared, the sensitive ones. Canter. Canter. Good job, buddy. Good boy. What a good boy. So again, you only want a couple steps. Do not try to get a whole big circle out of a sensitive horse that doesn't know how to canter. Dull ones you can push. The sensitive ones, you'll scare them. Here we go again. Canter. 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 Good job, buddy. Good boy. Now, see him get lateral right there? Then his stifle gave out. All sorts of stuff happened right there. And he looked at me like, what am I supposed to do? See the tail go up in the air? That's how he was when he started with me. So I'm going to let him calm back down. I don't want the last canter to be with his stifle giving out and him being nervous. So we're going to try it again. But first, I want him to calm down a little bit. But see, he's always checking in with me. Like, what am I supposed to do now, Gaye? Canter. Canter. Good job. Trot. Trot. So I'm taking him out of it. Good boy. So when I pull on the rope, his head goes up and he goes lateral. That's normal for a lot of gaited trotting horses. So, again, if we want to canter him when we ride him, now, I shouldn't have turned him there. That was my mistake because I was talking. Whoa. Because that's where he always wants to turn. So that's okay. We all make mistakes. And so I'm going to make him go around again. But I don't want to turn there because that's where he always wants to turn. We want to create new habits, new memories, and let those be good memories. Now, I didn't pull or anything, but see, he was looking to stop. He's checking in, But you never want to let them stop on their own in a certain spot and turn and go the other way, because then they think that's the correct answer and they'll keep doing it. Oh, good job. Okay, let's go the other way. But see how he wants to come right into me? Where when he met me, he's like, I don't want to be with you at all. Good job. See him spook a little there? A little nervous. He's like, are you going to whip me with that whip? So again, I don't know it was done. I don't know if it's lack of training or, you know, the owners did something that scared them. It can be many things. It doesn't matter. It just means we have to go back to fix it. Here we go. Canter. 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 Good job. Good job, buddy. So he's kind of got that lateral canter where both legs on the same side are moving together. But this is extraordinary compared to what he did the first time. So you want to canter and then trot or gait or walk or pace and then try it again. Canter. So he's learned. I'm teaching him the word. Breathe. Good boy. So don't expect them to stay in it. And if they're panicking, you shut them down. You bring them back to a trot, gait, or a walk and start again. Make a couple circles, get them to relax, and then try it again. It's all in stages. Canter. Good boy. So you can't expect a horse to canter well under saddle if it can't canter in the arena at all. Okay? The hills will balance them, but a lot of horses will panic because they're not used to doing it. Oh, good boy. Now we're going to go the other way. So see, he's picking up all my body language. He already figured out like what he's supposed to do. Good boy. Now he thinks I'm desensitizing him. So I'm not going to whip it harder. I'm like, no, I'm not desensitizing. You just keep going. Now we'll try it this way again. So horses like this, he has a huge stride, can have some issues with strengthening their stifles. Canter. 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 Easy. So when they're cantering and you pull on their head like that, they go lateral, then they get off balance and they want to stop. So that's part of why he wants to go the other direction. So we keep that in mind and go, well, they drift in that way. Maybe I shouldn't have cantered him off here because it happens over there. So let me canter him after I go by that spot. Canter. 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 Easy. Trot. Breathe. So you'll see my stick's way back here. I'm not whipping it at him. So beautiful horse, right? Who doesn't want to ride it? But this is not a good beginner horse. It's just not. Too much energy, too many mistakes, and he's younger, so that's another thing. So again, I'm trying to remember not to ask him for the canter now. Wait till I get by that spot. He keeps stopping. Okay, canter. Canter. Good boy. Trot. So I want to shut him down before I get to that spot so he doesn't get confused. He's pulling me a little bit. This is a 20-foot rope. Oh. So I can trot him on the shorter rope. Now I don't want to stop here. But I can't canter him so well because he's not balanced yet. Oh. So the horses you can canter on the shorter ropes are horses that already know how to canter. They're well balanced at the canter naturally, and it'll make it much easier. Okay, a little this way. Easy. But see, he did it again, that little spook. I'm just ignoring it. That might just go away in time, just like a head issue. Shaking their head or pulling on the bit. A lot of things go away when you fix the other problems. Canter. Good job, buddy. Trot. So he kind of needs to canter at least 5 days a week so he gets over his fear of cantering and becomes calmer doing it. Let's try it again. Canter. Canter. Good job. So it does not look like a very comfortable canter, but we'll see. But racking horses aren't bred to canter. They're bred to rack, aren't they? So You can get canters out of many horses. It's just, are they good? Maybe not, because a lot of the way they're bred, it's not for the canter, it's for the gait. So keep that in mind when you're looking at them. Hi! Good job! You want to come over? Good boy. Now, I don't know if you can see his eyes or how bug-eyed he is. Good boy. So I'm going to let him smell me. But see how he's like, are you going to kill me today? I'm like, well, I didn't kill you yesterday, so today probably not. So we'll leave that stick there. Now, I want to get him behind me, but not yet. I want him to just calm his energy, so just relax. Breathe. Let's switch ropes to the smaller rope. Good job. And now we're going to do desensitizing. So with a horse like this, or a sensitive horse, you don't want to lunge him like that and then crawl up on their back because he's excited. You either got to desensitize him after or let them calm down some by just standing there and get that energy to disperse and go away again. Okay. So he did pretty good with the desensitizing with the objects around him, but as soon as I started touching him with them, he started having a heart attack. One right after the other. Right? Good boy. So he's kind of one of those, he pretends to be relaxed. So I'm just going to rub on him. You don't want to pat on horses that are nervous. You just want to rub everything with rhythm. Rhythm calms horses down, and breathing and just moving slowly. And a sensitive horse, you never want to be in a rush because you're going to bring their energy up, aren't you? Okay. We're going to give you a little treat. You want a Scooby snack? He's like, yes, ma'am. Good boy. It's okay. So you'll see everything's just calm. So first I want to be able to touch him. So I didn't brush him. I don't like brushing them in the beginning when they first arrive until after I've worked them. So today I will brush them, but it'll be after the work. Because they're not ready to stand, they're all calm when you first come in and when they're getting new to these places. So it's best to work them, then do all your grooming stuff. Okay, so now we're going to throw the rope over his back, and he did pretty good with this the other day. So when you're not sure, like, why is your horse doing all these bad behaviors, what's with it, it's best to go back to their foundation, because they might not even have one, and see what they know and what they don't know. So he had some clue how to lunge, but when he first came in, it wasn't very good at all, so he probably had not been lunged in a while. But I think somewhere, sometime in his life, somebody taught him to lunge. And that's very helpful, because then I don't have to spend my time on teaching it. I can just start working them. So watch the desensitizing video if you have any questions about this. Good job. Good job. So he needs hours and hours of learning to just stand here and have things move around him and not him being expected to move. Good job. Now he's licking his lips and all of that, but is he totally relaxed? No, he's not. If you compare this to Kai's video, Kai's head was down and he was going to sleep. He's alert and he's awake. Now again, everybody has their preference on horses. Some people wouldn't like Kai, other people would. Other people would want this horse, which his name is Goose. Good boy. That was a big one. Good boy. Yes, you're a good boy. Yes, you are. So horses like this, they need calm, experienced people who can understand and help them, not get them in trouble, but help get them out of trouble if they get into it. Okay? Yes, he's licking his lips. I'm not stopping yet. Some horses even fake that they're calm and they're not. So it's better to overdo the desensitizing. That's the flies, because remember I said I didn't groom him, so he didn't get fly sprayed. Good boy. Now we're going to the other side. Okay? So if the camera wasn't on, I'd do that much longer. Okay? He needs a lot of this, and then in time, they'll just do this, but they won't have to do it as long. Okay? Good job. So we want them to think, like, every day we get you, we're not going to pull you out and ride you 6 hours and fly up and down the roads all over the place. Because sometimes that's what got the horses stuck on go and stuck in anxiety, is people just get on and they just go. And that brings adrenaline up. Good boy, there was a big sigh. Again, we're trying to dull this horse down some, right? Let's dull you down. Down, down, down. So now you've seen I've had some other horses in that were really, really fearful. He's not as bad as that. He's got some issues, but he's not as bad as some of the ones that have really been beaten. And you'll see me use a lot more food with them because it gets their mind on what I'm doing instead of panic. But he's doing pretty good. All right, and when you do these things, you start out very slow, and then you amp it up over time. You don't amp it up to start with the sensitive horses. Now, some of the times once you swing this rope, they will go flying. They will start running around. You just keep pulling their head, good boy, back towards you and swinging that rope until you get them to stand, and then that's when you stop swinging the rope. But sometimes people do this to make the horses go. Okay, I use it desensitizing. I want them used to motion being around them and them not moving. So again, you don't know what the horse knows. And the other day somebody came out and, they were doing this with the horse. They were testing, and I said, that's not what the horse knows. And then they kind of got upset with me. And I can explain to you what the horse knows much better than try and explain the horse to a new person. And I'm like telling the horse, well, you need to go. I know I desensitize when I do that, but that's not how they do it. No. So I always tell people, this is what the horse knows. Let me show you what the horse knows, because that's much easier. Okay? So again, I would do that much longer if the video's not on. Right? Because he was semi-relaxed, but now I'd like his head on the ground most of the time and just going to sleep. So again, hours and hours of just doing this. So he's going to have desensitizing every day. Are you looking forward to that? He's like, I don't really care. So nice horse, nice gaits. Just a lot of horse. And he has that big stride too. Good boy. You can itch. So see, he was going to itch and then he got afraid to itch. He's like, is she going to smack me? Is somebody going to do something? Now again, that just might be his personality, or maybe somebody did a little bit much with him, but he's always ready to go. So if your horse is always ready to go, you got to teach it to slow down, calm yourself. We'll get there when we get there. There's no rush with us. Okay, now we'll do over his head. So you're moving objects everywhere to see, because some horses really don't like it over their head and they'll rear up. Some horses, I throw the rope around their legs, that makes them rear up. Lots of things make you guys rear up. But it's just because usually there's some post-traumatic stress and somebody did something to them and it reminds them of it. And then we got to work through that and get it out of them, get it away. Most of you want to be like, he doesn't like things over his head, so don't do that. My idea is he doesn't like that over his head, so let's do it 20,000 times so he doesn't care and kill us when we wave something over his head by accident, or a bag goes flying on the trail and flies over his head. The idea is not to avoid things, but to teach the horse how to get through it. At least that's my idea. So you see, I'm not being quiet with any of this stuff. I'll let him smell this stuff. But I am moving this when it's far away. I'm just moving it. I'm not sneaking or anything else. Good job. So scratching where they like it. Good job. And again, you can fast forward through the video. You know, I'm making it for the owners. So I know some of you might get bored and you're like, this video's boring. Well, then your horse isn't like this and you don't need the information, so just scan through it to see what you want information on. But I like to make videos so people can go back, or if this horse didn't work out, they can show the next person, this is who he is. This is how he worked with the trainer. Okay? Now he's doing pretty good, right? Good job. So very sweet horse. He does want to engage. He's just a little afraid to engage. So now I'm going to touch him with this, and you watch what he does. So yesterday, he pretty much had a heart attack when I did this. So he's much better. Good boy. You know, put the flag all over, because again, sometimes somebody's beat them with something, and you, like I remember putting a bag on a horse's chest, and he reared up in the air, and I was like, ooh, somebody did something with a bag to this one. So it's best to know that stuff when you're on the ground to get them over it. Not have a bag fly into your horse's chest when you're riding, and he rears up and flips over backwards, because you didn't know that someone in his lifetime beat him with a bag, and when he sees the bag, he freaks out. Right? If somebody beat you with a bag, you would do the same. Okay? And it depends on their temperament. That's why with the walk-in horses, probably the one of the most abused horses in America, because they tolerate things where other horses would not, right? Because they're so calm, so calm. All right, so now we're going to hit him with the flag. Now, when I touched him with the noodle yesterday, he also cringed and thought I was going to kill him. So we'll see if that happens today. Okay? Because again, maybe it was just that I was new and he didn't trust me and thought I was going to kill him with it. Okay? And some horses have, you know, they're more sensitive and they haven't had a lot of people handle them. And that's why they get upset, because they're just not used to different people. Good boy. So again, do that much longer if it wasn't being videotaped. Right? Now again, his head's not down, but he's blinking, he's breathing. Good boy. When they're not blinking and they're not breathing, they're petrified. Now see, my hat flew off. He didn't move at all. You'd think he was fine because of that. That's why you test them with everything to see. And some of these horses were started out just correct. And then someone took them, scared the hell out of them, or rode them way too fast all the time, and got that horse stuck on adrenaline. Then they're adrenaline junkie, and we got to bring them back down. Good boy. So if he wants to touch me, I let him, versus like that little Icelandic who's always trying to bite me because she's a baby. But this guy needs to engage. So if he's brave enough and he wants to touch me, smell my hair, play with my hat or whatever, he's welcome to do so. Because we got to build his courage in people. And know that, hey, I know you can't see me so well, so if you want to smell me or anything, you can. Okay? So now I'm going to touch him with the flag. Not too bad today. Good job. And you might, you know, lots of people are like, why do you got to touch him in the face with the flag? Well, because a bag might fly in his face on the trail. And I don't want him to get scared or hurt somebody else. So try to touch him everywhere. That's why I stick it right up in their groin. See that cringe? So I'm going to try that again. 3 times the charm. Good boy. Okay. So pretty good, right? He's getting there. Good boy. Good job. Good job. Boy. Now sometimes people get so used to horses being like this, you know, the gaited horses aren't usually have that training that some of the other horses have, and people get used to him and they go, well, what's the problem? He's fine. No, he's not fine. Good boy. Okay? But that might be also because they've never been on a really broke horse. You know? Some people haven't, so you wouldn't know the difference. How could you? He's broke to you. He's broke more than other horses maybe those people own. So that's the hard part. That's why you always should test them, ride them in different places, see how you get along. But if a horse goes forward very easily, sideways very easily, without putting a lot of pressure on him, that's a more sensitive horse, and that's a horse that beginners can get in problems with. They don't take it slow and get the right trainer to help them. Because they're not horses you just grab their halters and shake on them or do something like that when somebody's on their back, because you'll freak them out. You might even make them rear up. Good boy. Okay, so we're going to touch. Watch him. So he cringed a little bit. See his head up? He's tolerating it, but he's not totally comfortable with it. He's like, why does she keep touching my head with that thing? Okay. So over and over again, touching, getting them used to things. Now, another thing that some people do is they hobble a horse and then they desensitize and do all this stuff, so the horse learns to tolerate it and stand there, but the horse is actually an explosive inside, and when you push it just a little too much, those hobbles aren't on, that horse explodes. So if you have a horse that you can touch with all these things, but it never puts its head down, it's not blinking, it's not breathing, it is not relaxed. You need to keep doing it until it finally takes a breath and lowers its head and starts blinking, right? He really hates flies. So his eyes are starting to get sleepy. His head's not down where I would like it to be at this point, but at least he's a lot more relaxed than when he started a couple days ago. Hi, what are you doing? You want to touch it? See, he wants to touch it, but then he's afraid, like, should I touch it or are you going to hit me with that? And again, that could just be him. It could just be worry. Now, he smelled something, and did you see his face? He's like, I don't know. And maybe that smell reminded him of something bad that happened to him. Or maybe he just doesn't like the smell. Hey, good boy. Okay, so now we're going to start touching him. Much better than it was the day before. Always hit their chest, but be careful. Because again, I've seen a lot of these gaited horses. I touch their chest with something and off they go. Now, there's lots of stories about abuse out there. Some might be true, some might not be true. But I have heard they put shock pads on some of the walk-in horses to get them to pace. And so when you do some things to them and they cringe and go like this, could be that they did put a shock pad on them, and whatever you're using is making them think they're going to get shocked. So you just got to keep doing it over and over till that memory of nothing happening is bigger than the memory of being shocked. They usually never forget. They do forgive much more than people forgive. Horses are much more forgiving. But it can always be in there. See, he wants to smell, and then he gets afraid of doing it. So I'm going to drop the rope and give him a little cookie. Like, that was good. You're doing a good job. It's okay. So now I'm going to start banging this. So I'm rewarding when he's being good and he's being calm. I'm not rewarding or giving him a cookie when his head's up in the air and he's not blinking or breathing. Now he should like, when I start rubbing him with this, again, because it'll get the bugs off. There, his head's going down a little bit. Hi, good job. I didn't grow up working with horses that had issues like this, because we did hunter jumper and we just didn't have that kind of issue. We had different issues, right? We had more bolters. But since I've worked with gaited horses, I have gotten so many fearful horses in because they're started quick, steps are skipped, The horse does stuff because they don't know, and then somebody beats them up. And it's a never-ending circle. And the whole thing is they're not trained well, and you just need to go back. So here, we're going to touch them in a second. So here we go. So much better. Good boy. Now he might have put his head down for the fly, but I'm going to take it off him to reward him. Good job.
Good job. Good job. You are very cute. You are very, very cute.
So I'm playing with his lip because I'm trying to get him to engage. And he's young. He's like 7. Good boy. So I can get horses to be very calm and tolerant and do all sorts of stuff, which is great, right? Is that great? Is that great? But the idea is not for me to be able to do it, but for the people who own him to be able to do it. And that's why training is important for your horse, but it's very important for you. And you can learn this stuff from other people if you got some natural horsemanship, or Western people usually do it. Not a lot of English people do this. They should, but they don't. It would help at the dressage test and the jumping shows. Help with all that stuff. Boy. So each day he's getting more engaging. He's getting more curious, like, hey, she's not going to kill me. Good boy. Now, again, some horses are just shy, or they didn't have a lot of interaction when they're younger. So he's 7. Maybe he was out in the field till he was 4 or 5 and unhandled by humans. And then they caught him, saddle broke him, started riding him. Could just be that. He didn't have a lot of handling before. Okay? The ones that are handled as babies a lot can be a little bit spoiled brats. So there's good and bad about all of them. He has a little fear, so he'll be easy to correct if he does something wrong. But otherwise, it's staying very calm, because these are the horses, you know, if you fall off or something, you scare them, and they run back home. And we will be working on that, just not yet. Good boy. Okay? So he's starting to get much more engaging. But again, it doesn't transfer over to people unless they work on it. So if someone just grabbed him out of his stall and started doing this with him, he might not be very good at all with them because he doesn't trust him yet. Where other horses trust everybody because they've had lots of handling. Good boy. Let me put this on your head just in case. Okay. So, let's put our junk back in our bag. So we got to keep it from blowing away. Now he's free right now, but you'll see he's not running away. Which if I did that the first day, he probably would have ran away. That's a water bottle. So we crunch the water bottle because somebody's going to do that on his back someday. Right? Best they find that out, that they don't like water bottles when you're on the ground doing it versus you take a drink and they bolt off. Okay? So always test your horses. It's much better to find these things out. So I've rubbed them before, so now it's just an added noise. So you're a little nervous, aren't you? So we'll do it again. So I try to desensitize him, not with crazy stuff, but with things that imitate what I'm going to use on the trail or when I ride them. So I don't need a big crazy spider. Seen that in obstacle courses, and I'm like, are you trying to build up your horse's courage or scare the living bejesus out of them because now they think there's a spider in the forest? Oh boy. Good boy. So, this horse now is trusting me. Probably not 100%, but he's quite good. But he needs a lot more of it, don't you? And what I'm teaching him too, which you might have saw in his other videos, when he touched me, he gets a treat. Why am I doing that? Well, because he was kind of afraid of people. I want to go back on that slide and do it again. And so I wanted him to engage with me versus I'm going up to him. I want him to be interested in, like, what am I doing now? Gaye does weird stuff. She's a weirdo, but she has lots of food. Okay. So when I opened this umbrella the first time, he didn't freak out. Did you? No. So it's not like he's a total spook. He's just a little untrusting and sensitive, and maybe some bad stuff happened. But look, this thing's blowing all over, and he don't care. You don't care. Right? He's like, don't go where it's poking. So he looked at it. Now I'm going to touch him. See his head go up? He's tolerating it quite well. Now he just kicked it by accident. Good boy. You're tucking the polar bear part. Good boy. Now, see him look because he sees me going for my pocket. Which he can see that well. Because again, they can see so many other things, and that's part of the problem, which we forget. So we're going to go up and over and away. Good boy. I want him to smell and see what it is. He has no fingers. His vision's also different than mine, so this could be completely blurry. So that's how he tells what things are, is the smell. That's why I always go in and let them smell me, so I'm like, hey, it's me. Because he might not recognize my face. I have glasses on and all that stuff. But they remember your energy and how fast you're moving, right? He's like, I don't want anybody moving too fast around me. I might tolerate it, but it's not going to make him calmer. It's going to make him more nervous. Like, why are you moving so fast? Okay. So, now I'm going to walk around him. I like to do that as well. See if you'll stand. So he doesn't always think when people are moving around him that he's got to move. If you do this, stay very close to them to start. Keep your hands on them so they know exactly where you are. Okay? Now you're going to think this is some mumbo-jumbo crap. Now watch. Now he's still here. My hand's going to come off. Now it's still on him. You're like, what? My hand is still on this horse. You can't feel it, but he can. Right? Good boy. Now we do it this way. So horses feel a lot, and they feel energy. You might think it's mumbo jumbo till you try it. Just like some people can feel a lot that you can't. Good job. Right? You okay with that? Now I'm going to amp the energy up, and this might make him go. So I'm going to jog. And I'm jogging really slow. I suck at jogging. I can jog faster than this, right? So why am I doing this? Because they're going to see joggers on the trail. And maybe he's seen them and he's totally fine, but maybe he's never understood what they're doing. See, his eyes are bug-eyed. Now again, maybe his vision is poor, because when I reached out, maybe he didn't see it, maybe he did see it, and he just had a flashback. But sometimes horses are just tolerating things waiting to explode. I'm trying to get the explosive stuff out so they don't explode anymore, right? All right. So now, let's see if he'll follow me again today. So I'm going to help him so he knows he can move. Okay. Good job. So horses, again, like this can be quite magical, especially if they hook onto you. He wants somebody to trust. He just wasn't sure who it was. And now he's like, well, guess what, Gaye? I'm gone. Playing with the dirt. Come on. So again, it's not like he can't play with the dirt. He can. You want to go play with the ball? So I like the ball because it moves, it makes noises. And I'm going to go get it. If he comes, he comes. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It's okay. If you're watching him move, you might see he's got a little catch on that right leg. He has some scratches on his leg, so he might have cast. But with these kind of horses that have the big stride, it's usually their stifle. So what we're going to do is some stifle rehab with him as well in time. So I'm coming. He's watching me. Good boy. So see, he's not super afraid. Come on. So you're trying to encourage things that make him braver. Hey, where are you going? Come back. He's like, I got ADHD. Good boy. Okay. Now he keeps leaving, right? So something over there smells more interesting. Maybe it was because his brother was in here, or maybe it's the grass. Come here. Oh boy, come with me in the ball. So we're going to graze in a minute, but not yet. So I want to follow the ball for a minute. You can have one more treat. Okay, and then we're going to ride the bike around him. Good job. Okay, so it's all groundwork in the beginning. That's all I'm doing with him because he needs a lot of it. All right, I hope that helps. Remember to like and subscribe.